that's really how I think they're going to formally introduce UBI, Universal Basic Income, because if it's given to you, you are more likely to use it. And they don't want pushback. From me personally, well, if it's UBI, that means even I get some of that garbage. And if I have a choice, what'll I do? I'll either leave it there or I'll convert it into gold and physical gold and silver and take it out of the system, if that's my option. I mean, if I have the option to do that.
Right. And I was asking, other experts this as well, if there's more incentive that you need to get out of the system now before we see digital currencies, if you want gold and silver or if you want cryptos, because then if I'm buying gold and silver with the digital currency, well, there goes complete transparency and privacy. And
right. I mean, it's pretty interesting when you do look, the statement that you just made, do it now, makes so much sense, because even the mint can't get the silver blanks. Even the silver ETF can't create silver baskets. And yet we still have spot silver at 27, 28 bucks an ounce. Makes absolutely zero sense in any kind of free market world. Same thing with gold, with governments buying up gold, with other governments not allowing it to be exported. And yet we still have it, 1900 bucks-ish, give or take a little bit. And I think people are starting to wake up to this reality and going, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. It hasn't made sense to me in a very long time. So I read their documents and I watch what they do. When their words don't match their actions, I know it's a lie. When they do, I know it's the truth.
You've kind of set the framework and wrote the narrative for how this is how the system dies.
Yeah.
Which part of the cycle are we at now?
I believe we're at the melt up part of the cycle, where the only option for central banks is just more of the same. They cannot raise rates, even though they're talking about raising rates. Well, they're thinking about it. They're going to buy fewer government bonds somewhere in the future, but they're going to go at a glacial pace. They're going to go super slow so the markets don't freak out. Yeah, the markets are in melt-up phase. They're all up at nosebleeds level, and so are the markets. So are the stock market. I mean, actually, they should be higher than this for what they're doing. So they're struggling a bit, but yeah, I think we're in the final melt-up phase.
I know your love of gold and silver. What role do the cryptocurrencies play for you in this?
I know that's where we're going. And I think the role that they play is getting everybody used to going completely digital. I'm personally, though, I watched Bitcoin come out and I felt like it was a Trojan horse, and I still feel like it's a Trojan horse. And what just happened with the FBI being able to claw back, I think it's something like $2.3 million worth of Bitcoin from the recent hack, that's gotten a lot of people quite shaken up that, oh, wow, maybe it's not as anonymous as I thought it was. So I'm going to wait and see who survives it. And then rather than jumping in with 2 feet, I am going to convert my gold as I need to execute the rest of my strategy.
And I know from past convos, you like physical.
No doubt. In any form.
And what are your thoughts on where the physical should be held? Are you a fan of holding out outside of the United States, having some in your backyard? How do you feel people should be exposed to that?
Well, since we're going through a complete reset, I think you need to have easy access to it, or at least reasonable access to it. So I hold mine in a vault here in Phoenix. I would frankly, I used to hold it in my home before I went on YouTube. But once that happened, then I no longer felt comfortable with that. So I can walk to my vault and I can get it. So I think you should also hold it in a diversified way. You've got your barterable stash, so that'll ensure that you can put that gallon of gas in your car if you need to, or pay your property taxes, which is a big thing, as you need to. And then you have your wealth preservation and growth gold that I hold separately, and that's for converting into opportunities as we're going through the reset.
And something else I find fascinating about you and many experts I speak to, and if you don't mind me sharing, is you're prepared to go off grid. You have an off grid, which is becoming more and more popular. I find this fascinating. Like, you have a fully operational house, a safe house you can go to. If you could, talk to us a little bit, like, is there a garden there? Are there solar panels? I mean, what do you need to kind of go off grid?
There is, I'm really lucky, and it's very remote. And so it's number one, it's super hard to get to. I think my son-in-law will be very happy if one time we go up there and he does not have to change a tire. He's had to do that every single time, poor guy. And we have those big Kevlar tires now too, and so it's a remote location that is very defensible and very hard to get to and very hard to find. And it has solar, wind, which we have to upgrade because this was done as a weekend house, but we are using it a lot more than that. So we're and I'm going to be documenting this too on my channel, but we're going to be upgrading. But it's got solar, it's got wind, it's got a well with 2 6,000 gallon rain catchment tanks with filtration for water. It's got a gray water system. It does not have gardens yet, but I've already sent Laura and Lindsay, my 2 farm workers, up there, and they've scoped out a space, and we're going to be doing a sunken hothouse because there's a lot of wind up there, which is why the wind is so good. So it kind of depends on where you are as to what makes the most sense for you to do to generate your energy. So the food part, we're doing at the moment, it's long-term storage, but we're putting in an orchard as well that we're going to have to protect from the deers and the bears and the javelina and the mountain lions.